So I'm in the car, for as you can tell, so I wanted to record this bit while I am just chilling. And I've been out of the house for a couple of hours, but it's a good thing because after we went to go see Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which it's hard to tell, but I'm wearing a custom-made FNAF shirt. We went to the Westfield Brandon Mall for Christmas shopping. I didn't do any shopping, I was just browsing shit. And, of course, if you're watching this after session 22 of Order of the Amethyst Oak, then you'll know that we had a late session. But you know what? A late one is better than not having one at all. Nevertheless, I want to speak my honest thoughts without getting into spoilers. So, my thoughts, and there are some people that are mixed about it, but I honestly say that it is better than the first movie. Scare factor wise, it is jump scare mania. Story wise, I like what they did to balance out the withered animatronics versus the toy animatronics. And when it comes to the toy animatronics, I think Callan Goff is the voice of Toy Freddy in the movie, which if that's the case, he cooked because his voice sounded really good. Megan Fox, I also liked her voice. I was pleasantly surprised. She did just as good as Amber Lee Connors. And Matt Pat, he does not sound like the Matt Pat that we know, but I still think that he did good with what he had. And as for how I felt about the rest of the story, I like the fact that it gives us like a prologue of what happened on to how Charlotte's spirit got all vengeful and why she is the marionette. Which, speaking of the marionette, I love what they did with Marionette. Like, Marionette is a menace in FNAF 2. And as for the first couple of minutes, it's like all wholesome, and then the spooky stuff comes in later on. But the jump scares were actually pretty good, like a lot better than the first movie. And it is just insane with how much effort Blumhouse has put in. Like, Josh Hutcherson, he did really good. Elizabeth Afton, similar case with the first movie to where she finds answers as to why she's going through the trauma. Pretty good idea to do, but the fact that there are secrets kept, the ending does make a lot of sense, and I understand why they ended on a cliffhanger for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And from when Five Nights at Freddy's became an IP for Halloween Horror Nights 2025, they wanted to have it be based off of the movie for the promotion of the second film, and it did pretty good. But Terrifier ended up being House of the Year, which I was not surprised about. Which, speaking of Terrifier, I'm excited for 4. I've seen all 3 films, which that's a story for another time. As for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it lived up to the hype. It was my most anticipated horror movie for 2025, and it lived to the hype. Like, the fact that the toy animatronics got voice actors, that's insane. And the withered animatronics are known as prototype animatronics instead of withered animatronics, which I like the fact that they did that. And I also appreciate the fact that it's not just in a pizzeria. also does take place in like a festival in a school. Like, they pretty much cooked with it. And despite the fact that we don't see Matthew Lillard physically because of the fact that he ended up becoming Springtrap at the end of the first movie, he cooked with his performance. So would I say 2025 was a peak year to be a Five Nights at Freddy's fan? Yes. And FNAF 2 is one of the reasons on the why. I already mentioned Halloween Horror Nights. And for those who may be living under a rock, Springtrap is a killer in Dead by Daylight. So, yeah. I didn't want this video to be crazy long because it's hard to talk about the movie without getting into spoilers. And there's one cameo that did catch me by surprise to see again, which is the Corey Kenshin one. And what was funny was that the moment I saw the taxi, I was like, is that Corey Kenshin? I predicted it before we saw it a few seconds. That is insane. And also, at the time this comes out, I'm going to be recording episode 23 of the All Things Nerdy podcast tomorrow, and it's going to be a collaboration, which I'm not going to say who it's with, but I'll leave a link in the description for by the time when it comes out, which should be Thursday or Friday. So you all run.